kept declaring myself to be a Yugoslavian, not a Serb, not a Bosnian, not a Muslim, not a Croatian. But then the war started and changed all that. But even when the fighting in Slovenia started, even when the fighting in Croatia started, we somehow thought it won't happen to us. Before the war started, I was a student at the University of Sarajevo, and I remember that the week before, I was asked by a friend of mine where did I plan to go for the weekend. And not understanding the question, I said, no, I have no plans. And she said that she's going to take off because before the shooting starts.
In March of 1992, Bosnia follows the lead of Slovenia and Croatia and declares independence from Yugoslavia. In response, Bosnian Serb nationalists launch a terror campaign on the city of Sarajevo.
The city was divided and there were shellings, and at first every time a detonation would come, we would all duck. But eventually we get sanitized, eventually we stopped caring to the point that our parents had to chase us to go downstairs to the shelter. Serbs agreed to let one train leave the city. And my parents worked with my uncle to assure that my younger sister and I were on that train. When I left the city, I thought that it's just for a few weeks till the drunken fools sober up and are done with their shooting. I had no idea that I will never ever go back to live in my home.
Vaja became one of thousands of refugees already living in Belgrade, with more on the way.
At first, the community greeted us with open arms. There was goodwill and willingness to help and support, both monetary and in food supplies. But pretty quickly, that ran out, both the supplies and the goodwill. The worst part of our stay in Serbia was not knowing how our parents were doing. And occasionally somebody would be able to come out with a letter. So we knew that they were okay. But a parent is a parent. They always say they were okay, and they were not.
But finally, 6 months into the war, a network of radio enthusiasts were able to get calls through.
That did not happen often, but oh my God, I'm having chills. But the first time it happened, it meant everything, because it's been 6 months. They were hungry most of the times. They slept in all of their clothes with many, many blankets just to keep warm. My dad was wounded. He was able to be seen and get some antibiotics for that. My mom was injured because she was running from the sniper across some glass and she slipped and fell. They survived. We were able to hear from each other. Often those phone calls happen in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. The phone would ring and you never knew if the news was really good because it's them phoning, or the news was really bad because it was somebody else. But lucky for us, our parents were all right.
Her parents were surviving in Sarajevo, but meanwhile, the nationalist regime in Serbia was making life as a Bosnian refugee increasingly difficult.
I was not a Serb. I spoke differently, I believed differently, and arguments, even with the family, were getting heated. And after about a year, my sister and I were told that we have to find our own way. It was Bosnian community that got together, and we lived with another family for a couple of months before it became clear that we need to find a way to establish ourselves someplace. But for me, it was clear that it wouldn't be in Serbia.
Vaja and her sister were granted permanent residency in Canada, and in time, the war ended. But Sarajevo, and Bosnia as a whole, would never be the same.
The thing that changed the most were people. My generation is gone. Lots of them died. most of them went away, and who went away never came back. All of my extended family lived in one city. Now I have relatives living in Australia, in Ireland, and some of us here in Canada. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to be together again, but people speak differently and there's a different mentality. But then again, it's been a war and many years since, so can't really expect things to be the same.